An ancient evil has been slumbering beneath Centiston Graveyard. As the Elder God Big prepares to launch an attack on the defenders of the cathedral, he spies an opportunity, and terror blooms. Welcome to the third phase of the Elder God Wars dungeon, the Croesus Front. This challenge will be unlike any you've faced before. It contains RuneScape's first ever skilling boss apart from Big Game Hunter. Holding your nose? Good. Let's dive in. The Croesus Front. The Centiston Graveyard was once a peaceful place to pay respect to the long-dead citizens of the Zerosian capital, but no longer. Bic has awakened Croesus, an enormous sentient fungus that threatens to spread across the city, feasting on any organic matter in its wake. That includes you, because you're very delicious. So you'll need to cut this mycological monster down to, that's like mycelium, but down to size before it's too late. Interesting. So there's no combat, so no fisty fights. Instead, you'll be using your gathering skills to fight back against the encroaching gunk. Throughout the graveyard, you'll find skilling nodes for wood chopping, rock bashing, fish obtaining, and hunter, which will allow you to harvest fungus to concoct new consumables or repair and craft new armor. You can also feed it to the animals on your player-owned farm, but we won't be held responsible for the creatures of the manure pile if you do. Okay. You need 88 in the respective skill to access the standard nodes, whereas the enhanced nodes will require 92, so fairly high level skilling method. Not super high, but like a little bit high. There are no skill requirements to face Croesus itself, although we do recommend having at least level 80 in woodcutting, mining, fishing, hunter, and construction. Because it sounded like if you get drained to 0 skill levels, then you lose. That's kind of what it sounded like. So that's the thing. Yeah, let's keep going. So the boss itself. Croesus is different to any boss you faced before. It cannot be killed in any way that matters. All you can do is force it back into a dormant state by summoning the spirits within the graveyard. Luckily, this encounter is massable, so you won't be alone. They say they recommend 8 people, but you can go up to 50 if you wish, and they said solo is very, 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 very difficult. So, we'll have to see. The 4 corners of the boss arena are home to 4 graves belonging to mighty heroes of the Second Age and their trophy kills. Croesus's fungus is growing over the graves, leeching the power within. To stop it, you'll need to work with other players and use your woodcutting, mining, fishing, and hunter skills to clear the fungal matter. This will reduce Croesus's strength, but watch out, the fungus will grow back in time, although you can slow it using rotten fungus you've already collected. So you poison the main fungus with some rotten fungus, and it's like, whoopsie daisy, I ate some food poisoning or something. For a more permanent solution, you'll need to restore the statues of the 4 heroes using the materials you gathered during the encounter. Once repaired, you can pray to the statues to subdue Croesus. Once it's been subdued, you'll gain access to the core fungus. Destroy that, and Croesus will be restored to its dormant state. And for a time, the city will be safe. Alright, so yeah, thoughts and prayers, everybody. Lots of thoughts and prayers. And it will make the bad boss go away. Don't worry. So, skill drain. Luckily for you, Croesus won't deal damage, but it will try to drain your skills using its powerful attacks. Lose too many levels, you'll have to retreat. I do wonder if super restores will be useful here. So it looks like it puts some gunk on the floor. You want to dodge the gunk, essentially. So if you see strange gas, watch out. Looks like there's oh right, so there's a bar on your head. I see. So that secondary bar there, I guess if it drains to 0, looks like you've got 100 or 200 health, I guess. So if you get hit too many times, then GG. Fair enough. So Croesus is RuneScape's first skilling boss. As such, there's no use for combat skills on this front, although I feel like Bladed Dive and Double Surge might be fairly useful here. So you'll use mining, woodcutting, fishing, and hunter. I wonder if the teleport, what's it called, the Prism of Salvation, that could be useful maybe to get like back and forwards real quick. Oh wait, true. Is that the mining stamina bar? No, it can't be. No, there's like a 15. You get hit at 15 and it drains it maybe. I think. Oh, I don't know. So use your skills to gather materials and wear the not so fun guy down. Construction will also come in handy to a lesser degree. I guess like making the statues might be faster if you're higher construction level. That's my guess anyway. But you'll receive XP in the appropriate skill anytime you contribute towards a task, whether that's using the skilling nodes, harvesting from the core fungus, repairing the statues, or anything else. Okay, so basically gather stuff, build statue, and then use thoughts and prayers to make the big bad boss go away. Easy peasy. But what do you get from the boss is the real question. They're the rewards. So the Croesus front is infested with rewards. That's very clever. I like that. So Crypt Bloom, which I thought was Crit Bloom initially, but it's not. It's Crypt Bloom. So wait, that's the boss pet, I think, right here. Like the mini version of the boss is the boss pet. So yeah, tier 90 magic tank armor, which is actually like the same tier as Acto, but I assume a bit easier to obtain perhaps. So the more pieces you have equipped, the more set effects you get. There are 4 different set effects. So the first set effect at 2 pieces. So if you want, you could do like helm and boots, or like boots and gloves or something. You'll take 12% less magic damage and 8% less melee damage, which could be a decent gear for potentially learning Telos on, because that's like mage and melee only. It has no effect on range, because combat triangle, but kind of interesting, I guess. I feel like you are better off in just DPS armor, but who knows? But then if you if you wear another piece, you take 18% less magic damage and 12% less melee damage. And wait, these bonuses are doubled if your primary spell is Earth. Interesting. But that's not Insight Fear, that's not Exsanguinate. So yeah, I guess like, is that Shadow spells? Is it Shadow or the other one? I forget which. Or Smoke, whatever it's called. I can't remember. So that's interesting. So, because I think one of the ancient spells reduces damage or something as well, or reduces hit chance or something. Shadow spells apparently, says the Twitch chat. Very good. So maybe if you use those, it's like, yeah, it seems like this armor is like intended for people learning. Like I can't see this being used for like end game players, but I can see this being quite useful for people learning bosses. I want to take it a bit slower. They get quite tanky. Obviously, like this plus animate dead as well. You could actually get really tanky with that. It's kind of crazy. And then at 4 pieces, every time you take damage, you have a 6% chance to infect your target with Croesus's death spores, which will increase the damage they take from behind by 10%. Interesting. So this might be the gear for some teams, like at Beastmaster, for example, and Yakamaru. I assume. You could like tank Yakamaru in MD, for example, and only take magic damage instead of range. So that could work, and then your team will do 10% more damage. So that's not too bad. It's only a 6% chance, so it's not that much. But you know, it could work for that and help out with some raids. I feel like I can't really think of many other bosses this will be that useful apart from raids. I feel like raids is like the most obvious thing for this. Like maybe Carapac? Because like with like magic reduce is probably quite big. Like maybe good at Carapac. Oh yeah, potentially AOD actually, that's a good point. Because yeah, take less magic damage. And wait, magic and melee, that's like AoD in a nutshell, isn't it? So yeah, AoD and raids, definitely very useful for this. Especially for a base tank who's learning. For sure. Because like 10% damage is quite a lot. That is quite a lot. So yeah, if everyone's on like one side of the boss, that could actually be very, very useful. But then, with all 5 pieces equipped, you'll get all of that above, and when you fall below 20% HP, so that would be like probably like 3k HP, because this armor gives life points like Acto, so you'll be like 13k or something. So yeah, somewhere around like 3k HP. You'll gain a fungal shield, which scales with your armor rating and defense level, and for 15 seconds. Okay, so you get a shield if you drop low, which it doesn't say. Oh, wait, a 2-minute cooldown. That's a lot, actually. That's a very big cooldown. Wait, that's a really long cooldown, in fact. So you get it like once per boss fight, essentially. Maybe like twice if it's like AoD learning, but I feel like Beastmaster will be dead by the time that one's done. But either way, it could be interesting, I guess. That's a very long cooldown. I feel like I can see that getting changed maybe. But yeah, you'll get like an amount of shield. It's hard to say how much it is. I don't know if they say it anywhere, but maybe they will. Yeah, hopefully it's like a sizable shield, which just like absorbs a bunch of damage so you can get yourself back together. Kind of interesting. And then we have some skilling offhands. So the Crocious Front has a bumper crop of 2 new skilling offhands, 1 for woodcutting and 1 for mining. Tagger's Core Hammer. It's Tagger. Tagger's Core Hammer is a level 80 mining offhand that will give you 10% critical strike chance and 35 critical strike damage when equipped. So basically, you mine faster and more often. However, when mining ores from the fungal core using Tagger's Core Hammer, you'll have the chance to receive Death Spore arrow tips. What's the fungal core? Is this like mining at... Because I thought they said you could mine anywhere. But I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. But either way, mining, you get some arrow tips, and the higher tier of the ore, the higher chance to get arrow tips. So maybe this is just the stuff in the boss encounter. Yeah, like maybe after you subdue, but I kind of assumed it was just you get them everywhere, but I guess it makes sense that you don't. But yeah, I guess you use this for like the end of the boss fight, and you can get some arrow tips from it, I think. I don't know, this seems a bit different to what I assumed they said on stream. I thought it was like the hammer thingy made it so any ore that you mine would give you a chance at arrow tips. But maybe, I don't know. Not quite clear on that one. And then Sanna's Fire Torch is a level 80 woodcutting offhand that gives you a 6% chance, increased chance of success when woodcutting, and 20% chance to get an extra log. I do wonder if that gives you more XP or not. But basically just woodcut faster and get more stuff sometimes. Yeah, if that gives extra XP, it's actually pretty good, to be fair. Kind of like the mining one as well, it's essentially the same thing. Yeah, when Sanna's Fire Torch is equipped, you'll also get the chance to receive splintering arrow tips when chopping logs. Again, the higher tier of log, the higher chance of receiving arrow tips. Yeah, this one doesn't seem to specify, because like this one here seemed to specify like the logs in the fight, like the fungal core, but like this one just seems like logs in general. Like judging by what they said on the stream, I feel like it's just stuff in general, I think. So I think like any ore that you mine will be, you know, give a chance of these when using that thing. I think. It's a little bit unclear right now. Like, but I think it's like any tree and any ore. I think it's probably just like a whoopsie daisy here. But either way. And so with the fire torch equipped, you can burn Crocious's sticky fungus instantly. With sticky fungus being one of the boss mechanics that does something. I don't know. We'll find out on Monday. Oh, this releases on Monday, by the way, like 27th, next Monday. And yeah, so with the arrow tips, you would kind of expect that they can be made into arrows with elder logs, which I am slightly worried about as an Iron Man, because nobody really chops elder logs, and you need quite a lot of them to make, well, blackstone arrows. They're pretty horrendous to make in the first place. So I'm thinking the boss will probably drop elder logs in some quantity. I think that makes sense. You know, Elder God Wars, elder logs, you know, it kind of comes together hand in hand, hopefully. So yeah, while wielding either of the new skilling offhands, you'll have the chance to receive splintering or death spore arrow tips, which you can craft into arrows. And splintering arrows cause any attacks used within 4.2 seconds after greater dazing shot to apply puncture stacks. So puncture is like the greater dazing shot plus salt the wound. The more stacks you have, the more damage puncture does. I think is how that works. But nobody really uses it because everybody uses crossbows because the criminal bolts are just better. And I feel like even after this, the criminal bolts are just better and less fiddly. It's like, wear these bolts, you do more damage. Enjoy. But this is like, you use these arrows, complete a physics master's degree, and then you might get some benefit. It just, it seems very complex for... Anyway, let's keep reading. So you have to have greater dazing shot unlocked from Shattered Worlds for this to work, but if you've got Darkbow EOF plus Mechanized Chinchombers, it takes about half an hour. Very easy. And in addition, the maximum number of puncture stacks will be increased to 13. I don't know what it is now because nobody uses the ability, but yeah, that's a thing. 13 as opposed to, I don't know, maybe Twitch chat knows, but currently 10 apparently right now. So you get 3 more stacks, which I guess means that your puncture does more damage. So yeah, these arrows boost your critical strike chance by 3%, which is quite big actually. And when you crit, you'll gain a stack of feasting spores. And at 5 stacks, so 5 crits, which technically you could apply all at once, I think, if with like greater ricochet. Like if your ricochet crits a lot, like if you've got like a grimoire and these things, you'll have a lot of crit chance, and like biting 4 perk, and the Rex Matriarch's Archer's Ring, you will crit quite a lot. So if you have a Karaming bow and then fire that, you probably get like an instant 5 stacks pretty much, or like that plus rapid fire, you know. So what this does, it's essentially a relentless. So your next ability that would normally cost adrenaline, so not basics, so just like thresholds and ultimates. So you can essentially Karaming, so if you Karaming your bow and have a big crit buff, you can essentially near guarantee a relentless death swiftness or a dark bow or something, which sounds quite interesting. Obviously there's like the trade-off, like, you know, you could do that or you could just camp your bolts. It does seem quite good if you've got a lot of crit buffs going on. The effect has a 60-second cooldown, so you can use this every swiftness pretty much. Sort of, anyway. I guess it won't be up for the second one quite, but sort of. Oh, but yeah, but each time you crit while using the new arrows, so therefore using a new bow, you reduce the cooldown by 1.8 seconds. And if you have lots of crit buffs, then you're pretty good. And something that people are mentioning here, actually, is actually very clever. What if... It's actually very clever, I like that. What if you use these Death Spore arrows to use Incendiary Shot for free, and then switch back to your crossbows to then do your swiftness and get the big crit buff. So every time you crit, you get 10% adrenaline. And then you just go to town with like dark bow specs and stuff. like in the middle of the fight, because normally we do that at the start of a boss fight by sending a dummy in War's Retreat, but now you can do this mid-fight without losing out on too much. So that could be interesting. That could be very interesting. Alternatively, you could, I guess, Swiftness into Incend, but I don't think Incend is boosted by Swiftness. I could be wrong. It's not boosted by Prez, I don't think, because apparently, I learned this recently, it's apparently coded as a bleed. Even though it's not a bleed, it's coded as one. So like your offensive stuff doesn't really matter. That's a bit weird. I don't know. I don't understand the nuances, but that's it. But either way, a seed bag is an item that stores up to 40 different types of seeds. So basically, what this item does is it gives you 39 more bank spaces. That's what I'm using it for. It sounds amazing. That's 39 bank spaces that I'm getting back. So... perfect. So that's cool. I guess you can bring this on your Slayer task as well, if you really want. That's a thing you can do. And then we have, this thing is really cool as well, the Grasping Rune Pouch. You use stuff from the boss to upgrade your existing rune pouch, and instead of giving 3 runes in the pouch, it gives 4. So that's very cool. And it even gives you a prayer bonus. Sweet. And even if that wasn't good enough already, you'll also have a 25% chance to not use runes when casting combat spells. So that's pretty cool. That means the Staff of Armadil is a little bit more viable to use. It's still really not great for Iron Men. Like, even with 25% saving, it's still... I don't really know how you're supposed to upkeep your runes on Iron if you use this. But on a main account, this would be really nice. With Staff of Armadil. But... yeah, either way, it's nice. Mage, use less runes, easy peasy. And then they actually missed a reward. They did not mention the Scripture of Wenhir. They did in the stream though, and luckily big brain box Mr. Wazzy has got it all in here, so we're all fine. So this is like, you know, the Scripture of Jazz, Scripture of Wen, but now we have the Scripture of Bik, which is not a combat book, believe it or not. Actually a skilling god book that is essentially, it's sort of like a Grace of the Elves or Brooch of the Gods, but instead of those it will spawn a little mushroom, nice little mushroom, and if you cannot resist clicking on it, then you click on it, it gives you, I believe, a 5% XP buff for a minute while you're skilling, but also it gives you some clue scrolls, and I believe they said it's elite clue scrolls with a very rare chance at master, which I'm assuming is like a 1 in 100 chance at master clues. And apparently it might give you between 1 and 3 elite clue scrolls, subject to change of course. But yeah, it does like elites quite a lot. So this may be a new meta for those you know, crazy people who like elite clues for some reason. Maybe very good for those, because then you can probably just like AFK skill. You got your like Prosper perk, and you got your Scripture of Bik. You probably got a lot of elite clues for like very minimal effort, I imagine, apart from just like clicking whenever it comes up. So it sounds quite interesting. Obviously I assume it like degrades as normal, like you just have it active the whole time. But yeah, someone in chat says, yeah, probably like what, a big chance for elites, then like a little chance, or a lesser chance for hards, then like a small chance for medium, then a tiny chance for easy. I imagine that sounds about right. We don't have any confirmation on that, but that's sounds reasonable. And yeah, well, the fungus is starting to eat through our keyboards. Oh, they didn't use Bic pens to write this. That's a mistake. So that's all the information you're getting for now. But keep your eyes peeled for the Crucius Front Survival Guide and the Crucius Front itself, which goes live on September the 27th. Ooh. So that is 6 days from now. So it should be interesting. I'm not entirely sure what to feel about it. Overall, like Karapak and the Glacier, I was like, wow, that sounds awesome. This one, I'm like, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think is where I am. I'm not like blown away. Because like these arrows, I feel like, dude, as if range doesn't have enough switches. I guess it's nice for people that only have like Nox bows and stuff. But I also kind of wonder how many arrows this is going to be using. Like, does it use an arrow every single time? It's like Elder Logs are not that easy to get, but I'm kind of assuming the boss will drop them, so maybe it's fine. But yeah, I don't know. If you want to be good at range, it seems like you might need to bring even more switches if you want like best in slot range. So yeah, there's already like 16 switches you can bring right now. Why not have, 18 or 19? What could possibly go wrong? But yeah, I feel like the majority of people are probably just going to stick with their Ascensions and their Bookman bolts, if I had to guess. But we'll see, anything can happen. Maybe they'll end up being like way better than we expect. Because, things in practice, things on paper are often a little bit different. But yeah, was the one thing I'm a little worried about as well, like with the scripture. Like, does that mean that you can no longer use the Brooch of the Gods? So you've got to choose between having scavenging procs and like portable buffs or whatever. You've got to choose between that and also having the like clue score things. Which that doesn't really feel very good, to be honest. Like, maybe there'll be like a change to that. I'm not really sure. But yeah, it does seem a little bit dodgy. So I don't know. Maybe they've thought of that. Maybe they haven't. I have no idea. But yeah, that does seem to slightly overlap the reward space there. But who knows? Who knows? One thing they also didn't mention here, which they said they would, and they didn't. They said they were going to mention some new potions, which they have not mentioned. So there are some kind of new potions, which they were meant to mention but didn't. Just refresh, maybe it's here now. Nope. Nope. Okay, well, there are new potions that apparently, and I quote, will fill the gap with existing potions. So whatever that means, maybe it's like a low-level overload, or like a mid-level overload. I really have no idea. Maybe it's like skilling potions, like maybe it's like weapon poison stuff, or maybe it's like instead of weapon poison it's fungus, who knows. But we really don't know. They said they would be on here, but classic Jagex saying one thing and doing another. But it's fine. But yeah, that is the Crucius front. It's all the info we have right now. Hopefully more will come out over time, because they said they're having a thingamajig soon. Was it a survival guide, which I assume will be here on Friday. Probably. They normally do like Tuesdays and Fridays. And yeah, they recommended 8-man for the teams, which is it's quite a lot, isn't it? 8-man is quite a lot. And actually, wait, that is quite ironic. Dude, survival guide for a boss that can't kill you, because you cannot die to this boss. You can lose, but you don't die. So that is quite funny, actually. But yeah, and also, Iron Men should be able to join instances with main accounts. Because status shouldn't matter, it's about what you do during the fight. So if you don't collect anything, you don't get a reward. If you collect lots of things and do lots of good things for the fight, then you get more rewards. Is essentially how it works. So yeah, we'll have to see how it plays. Definitely some interesting things here, which I do feel leans slightly more towards mid-level players than high-level players, because I feel like a lot of I don't think any high-tier PVMers are going to be using this, apart from very, very niche things. But I do think the armor will be very good for people learning. Like learners and masses for raids and AoD, like we mentioned. Like people learning to base tank would be very good for this. So if you are looking to get into Virago, AoD, and bigger teams, then this is probably the armor for you, just to get you started. But I feel like eventually you'll graduate past this armor and go into DPS armor when you're comfortable. So yeah, I don't know. At the same time, there is this thing, the extra damage, which definitely could definitely could be more benefit to make your entire team do 10% more damage, but I guess you're doing like a bit less, so I don't know. You have to see how it balances out, I suppose. Like, is you doing less damage but your team doing more better, or I don't know. Have to wait and see. Yeah, potentially this one could be quite interesting, the 4-piece effect, but we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, for now, guys, that is your rundown. Everything we know so far of the Crocious front comes out next Monday, so hopefully you enjoyed this little overview. And yeah, goodbye to the YouTube people.